Hey guys, it's Victoria here, and today I have kind of a different video for my channel. The holidays are coming up, everybody's getting ready to go on vacation maybe, and maybe you just want to make some extra money. So I'm trying out some side hustles that might make you some extra cash during this holiday season. I'm looking for things that are easy to do, are flexible with scheduling and whatnot. So the first thing that I have tried is Uber. So I'm gonna go through different things like about it, talk about how much I made and whatnot. So I started last Sunday and I worked 6 days. Yeah, so about almost a week. I took a day off because it was my birthday. So yeah, so I want to go through and talk to you about my first week driving with Uber, what I've learned, how I feel about it and whatnot. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing that I want to talk about is my location and where I live at. I don't live in a big busy city that has a nightlife or whatnot. The city that I live in has a population of about 80,000, and the surrounding cities around me have population about 170,000. So I'm saying that to compare this to LA. The city of LA almost has 4 million people, right? So that's quite a bit of difference. And a lot of Uber videos that I've seen, not that I've watched a ton because I wanted to kind of just jump into it and see how easy it is for somebody who has no history, no background, no experience with Uber to just go ahead and start. But the videos that I did see when I was typing on YouTube were from people driving in busy cities such as Atlanta, LA, San Francisco, Dallas, in Florida, Boston, places that have are densely populated and have a nightlife type scene. And so my city doesn't have that. So like I said, but my city doesn't have that, but there is an airport not too far away from me, which is good. So when it comes to when I talk about and then how much money I made, remember that it plays a part where you live at and the size of your city and what goes on in your city. If your city is very active as far as a nightlife events being held, there are often such as I don't know, basketball games or something sports type things, or just EDC type events, those kind of rave stuff, festivals, whatnot. If there's stuff in your city, that's gonna make you money. So also I know there are a lot of drivers in my area, but a lot of those drivers go to LA to drive. They don't stay around here to drive, which is always an option as well. I live about 45 minutes from LA, so it's not horrible. It's just that I'm not familiar with LA, and I'll talk about navigation a little bit later, but it really helps to be familiar with the area that you're driving in. Okay, next up we're going to talk about time. There's times that are best for driving Uber. So there's a learning curve to this. I'm still learning. Obviously, I'm not gonna say I'm an expert or Uber driver because I'm a newbie, a straight beginner. So just put that out there. I'm no expert. I'm just giving you my perspective after driving for 6 days. Okay. But there are specific times that are good to drive, and this is something you have to learn based on your city and where you're driving at. For me, weekends all day are good to drive. On Sunday when I drove, I was picking up and dropping off from the airport mostly, and it's very consistent. So the weekends are always good times, and then nights, Friday nights, and then weekday evenings after work. Mornings are of course okay. I'm not a morning person, so I'm not gonna wake up early to work the mornings, but I've heard that it's okay. I never personally worked the mornings, so I really don't know. I just know during the day is really good. Also what played a part too is that this week was Thanksgiving and Black Friday, which caused surges and boosts, which I'll talk about later. But yeah, so just know you have to be smart about when you're driving, because if not, you're gonna waste gas and you're gonna waste time and waste money. So always, like I said, it's a learning curve for me. Like I said, I'm learning. Since I started, I obviously drove whenever. because I didn't know what times were the best times to work in my city. Like I said, in LA, you know that you can work basically most of the time because people are constantly going from here to there, and it's so much traffic that people, and parking sucks in LA, we all know that. So people want to take an Uber versus having to find parking or whatnot. So just know that yeah, their times matter. You want to work smarter, not harder. So pick your times to maximize the most profit that you possibly can. All right, so now we're going to talk about the pay, how Uber pays you, and it's all done through their app. You see how much you're getting paid for each ride as you pick up and end the trip. But the way that their pricing is made up is there's a base fare that they pay, there's per mile, per minute, and they charge if you have to wait for the person to come out. Your minimum for my city, and I'm looking down at my notes right now, and this varies from region to region. Okay, so the minimum fare for my area is $3, and the cancellation fee is $3.75. Now the base fare for where I live is $0, which I don't know if that's common. I don't know. I heard that like some people say that there is like an actual base fare for some cities, which there may be, and you can always look it up on Uber's the driver dashboard. You can see what the base fare is for different areas around you. I just looked up mine. Also, the surge slash boost. Basically what happens is when there's a surge is like when there's way too many people asking for Uber, not enough Uber drivers, and so they increase the price of the fare. I know there's been some controversy in the news about how Uber is passing that pay on to the drivers, and they're really not. And I can say from having driven during a surge time in a surge area, while I did make good money, it was nothing more significant than if I just drove around my area, you know what I mean? And I was in a red zone, which is 3 times the fare. So and I was only doing that for like the whole night, and it was kind of like, okay, but for me it was worth it just because I for a new person, you need to be experiencing these things and learning these things and learning what works for you. So I don't think it wasn't worth it, because I definitely learned a lot from working that. Also, there's surges and boosts all the time, especially where I live. On Sunday when I was at the airport, there was boost, and I'm not sure why, but yeah, those were boost hours. Surge, and then boost is like where you're guaranteed a certain amount if you're driving in an area. Those are very common. Again, I live far from the city of LA, but I border LA County. So they had it where it was a promotion where you did 15 rides and got $55 if they originated in LA County. And this area actually had a boost because oh my god, it was insane. And I think this is on Thursday, Black Friday shopping time. So yeah, so that was another thing. But also, so yeah, so look, you can constantly check your app and see if there's a boost or a surge somewhere, and you can go and drive there. I know that there's drivers that just do that, or they could be like me, who's just like trying to figure things out and just work your area that you're familiar with. Yeah, so also there's tips. So they can tip on the app or they can give you cash. I got both, a mixture of both, and honestly, like, I feel like I got a lot of tips, which really helped the amount that I actually made, because like, one thing too is that passengers aren't really aware like that they can tip, and I had to tell people like, oh no, you can tip in the app or you can tip giving cash. I'm like, oh, they didn't know that. So that's one thing that I feel like, you know, bring it in, or you can have, like tip jar if you want in your car or whatever the case may be, just to remind them that, hey, it's good to tip. I use Uber myself as a rider, so I always tip just because I'm like, I don't know, when it comes to restaurants or anything like service industry like that, I feel like you should tip. So I always tip, but that's just me personally. But so, I feel like I was a good driver. I wasn't crazy, and I was always talkative and upbeat, which helps too. So yeah, I did get quite a bit of tips, which was awesome. The next thing I'm going to talk about is in the app, the navigation that is there. Just touch on that briefly. They allow you to use their navigation, Uber's navigation, Google Maps, I'm sorry, G Maps for short, or Waze. I've only used Google Maps and the Uber system. They're okay. It's not spot on by any means whatsoever. So that's when it helps to really know and be familiar with your area, is that you can see, like, you know, they're at the Sheraton Hotel and it kind of takes you around the back part instead of the front part. So you know, okay, I need to go this way, ignore those directions, I'm going to go over here. So they're okay. I haven't had anybody really get mad about me not being in the right spot. If I'm unsure, I just call people. Just call them and say, hey, it's your Uber, can you tell me exactly where you're at? And they're like, oh yeah, I'm over here at Jack in the Box, or whatever the case may be. So good stuff. Like I said, again, it really helps to be familiar with the area that you're driving in. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about is the passengers. I have my notes in my notebook right here. I didn't have any bad experience with any of my passengers. Like, all my passengers were great. Most of them are upbeat and talkative and just really into and asking questions about what I did, how was Uber, and everything else. So I think that really like played a part too, and the fact that, you know, I had a good time is because I had good passengers. You know, I had some passengers who were on their phone. I had a guy that came in from a flight from New York, so I'm sure he was exhausted and just wanted to chill. So for me, like, I had no bad experiences. Nobody threw my car, nobody tried to fight me, nothing bad happened as far as my passengers were concerned. I gave everybody 5 stars, everybody gave me 5 stars, which, you know, the rating system is the rating system. Everybody, of course, the goal is that you want to be the best driver and you want to get 5 stars. But at the same time, you cannot please everybody to their standard, and who knows what, you know, John's 5-star standard is. You don't know. So my dog's trying to get in my room, but he can't. Yeah, so that's just one thing, is that, like, I had a good time when I was driving. I had, like I said, I had really good passengers. My longest trip was like 45 minutes. I don't know if I mentioned that before. Yeah, so my longest trip was like 45 minutes. And yeah, like, I didn't have any problems. So, you know, your passengers, you know, rate you rate your passengers. I got a couple compliments, which, you know, equated to me getting tips from those passengers too, which is awesome. And like I said, it was just, I had a lot of fun with it, and I think that also really helped as far as how I feel towards Uber in general. Let's see. So yeah, now to sum it all up, basically, is that the most important thing that I've learned from this week is that I have to pick the times that optimize my profits, because there are certain times that it's best to get rides and passengers, and that is not going to waste your gas, not going to waste your time driving to place, because just at the end of the day, like I said, you can work all day, but all day is not necessarily the best time to work in your area. So let's go with my stats for the 6 days that I worked. I worked 39 hours, which is like 40 hours, kind of like a full-time job, but I did it in 6 days versus 5 days. And I didn't work full days all the time either. So on Sunday, I think I worked like 4 hours, because that's all I felt like working. So I had 75 trips and I made $641. Now, that's not including the cash tips that I got, which brings this to, how many? Yeah, which would bring this to $700 approximately. But we have to factor in my gas, so I had to fill up I didn't have to say this, I drive a 2017 Nissan Sentra, so that qualifies me for UberX, and it costs about $30 to $35 to fill up my tank. I filled up about 3 times or so, so like $120-ish. I also want to point out that this is my personal vehicle, so I was driving to other places. I wasn't just driving Uber in this car, so that also played a factor in how much gas I had to get. So yeah, okay, I think it's okay for 6 days, like $100 a day after, you know, factoring your gas and whatnot, which is, I didn't have like a set goal of how much I wanted to make. I didn't even know how much I would make. So I think this is pretty good for myself. Again, I think that if I would have known the peak times to work, obviously I would have made more money and spent less on gas. But again, that comes with a learning curve, and I'm not an expert Uber driver. I'm like a newbie completely. I'm still learning. There is a learning curve to this, absolutely. I feel like that is one thing that, you know, Uber doesn't really put out there. Like, it's not just like, it is easy to get in your car and just drive, but you have to learn your area and when are the best times for you to drive and where. So there's that. But I wanted to try this out for people who are like just seeing the commercial and it's like, can I just hop in my car and start driving Uber? Absolutely. Some things to have in your car obviously is the cell phone holder, so that you can, on your dash or your air vent, so that you can, you know, you're not looking down at your phone and you don't get a ticket, and you're able to easily follow the navigation. Obviously cell phone chargers, because your phone is going to die. Somebody might have a dying cell phone. And an auxiliary cord, which I don't have, but I have Spotify, so I was able to put on whatever music people wanted to put on in my car, so that was good. Also, it's basically only me that drives in my car, so my car is fairly clean all the time, especially in the back because nobody really rides back there. So just make sure your car is clean, washed. You have some cleaning stuff in your car as well, just in case you want to, somebody has a spill or somebody does throw up in your car. Hopefully it doesn't happen or whatnot, just to make sure that, you know, any little thing is taken care of. So yeah, so let's go with my pros of driving Uber. One is that obviously you can work anytime you feel like it, and it's very flexible, and you can drive when you want to. I want to say this first and foremost, is that I have a full-time job, which I love, and I don't ever see myself leaving this full-time job to go do Uber or something like that. So again, that obviously affects my outlook because this is not my full-time job. So if I only make like $200, like it's okay for me, because especially if I only, you know, worked my general area, I didn't spend that much on gas. Like, to me, that's worth it, because I, you know, who doesn't want an extra $200 each week? But again, if it's your full-time job, then you might have a different outlook on Uber. Another pro is obviously you get to meet and talk to a lot of people, new people from different places. I'm a people person. I love talking to people. So for me, this is very enjoyable, and this made it very stress-free for me. I worked, like I said, until 3 o'clock in the morning, and I was not tired. I was not tired. I could have kept going, but I felt like I need to get some sleep because I do have to go back to work tomorrow. So like, I need to get my sleeping pattern back on track. But yeah, so for me, I feel like this is a very stress-free job, and that, like I said, I could do it all day and not feel tired. Alright, so some cons is obviously the wear and tear that you're putting on your car. That's a big deal, because, you know, especially if it's your personal vehicle, it's not like you're only relying on it for Uber, you're relying on it to get you from everywhere that you need to go. Also, gas. Gas, this is pretty expensive these days, so, you know, if you're not making that much driving and you're like having to fill up every single day, it kind of cuts into your profit margin. Obviously, you're sitting for long periods of time in a car, which is not the healthiest thing. Obviously, you can get out and take a break, but then that stops you from driving and making money. So, you know, there's that aspect. And also, you know, certain things to think about is like eating and going to the restroom. It's not always so easy to find a restroom at 3 o'clock in the morning, you know what I mean? So that is also an issue, that you're like kind of seeking out someplace that's not shady and like well lit to, you know, use the bathroom. The airport does have like porta potties and whatnot, and you know, during the rest of the day, there's like Starbucks, there's other restaurants that have bathrooms that are clean that you can use, but it's always one of those things where you have to factor in, you know, okay, I have to go offline right now so I can go use the bathroom or to go eat, but that's also cutting into you making money. So that's something to consider. So overall, for me, I've had a pleasant experience with Uber. Like I said, breaking down the money cost, like I said, it's not an exorbitant amount of money, but I think it's pretty good for me personally as a new person that's just starting out. And like I said, because this is not my full-time job, like any money that I've made from Uber is just like extra money for me to spend on whatever I want to spend it on or put it in savings, and that's kind of what I'm doing. Or also holidays coming up to buy presents for people. So for me, it's because I have it as that's my outlook on it. I don't have a negative outlook. I know there's some issues with the pay that people are getting. Uber drivers went on strike today, over the weekend at LAX. I did not take anybody to LAX. You do have to have a special permit for LAX driving. I took the test. They haven't sent me the placard. I don't know if I actually want to go deal with the drama of that, so we shall see. For this next week, I'm going to only work the weekend, so we will see how that goes, and then I will report back to you. I also signed up with Lyft, so I'm gonna do a week driving with Lyft and see what the difference is between that and Uber, and then I can come back and give you another one. And then I also want to try out some other things like Amazon Flex. I also qualified for Uber Eats. So we'll just be testing some things out and see if it's really worth the money. Is it really worth your time? Or is it better for you to just go get like a normal part-time job, like working at an Amazon warehouse where they're hiring right now because it's holidays? Or, you know, let's weigh the pros and cons together. If you are an Uber driver, like an expert Uber driver, or you've been driving for a long time and you have any comments, suggestions, please leave them below. I will also leave my referral code below for those of you who want to get started with Uber. It does make me money, just FYI, but there's plenty of promos for you if you sign up as well that will make you extra money. And yes, if there's nothing that I haven't covered and you have a question, just leave it below. If you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.